This is an interview with Mr. Jno Berry for the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute Oral History Project. I'm Dr. Horace Huntley. We're presently at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. Today is November 25th, 1996.
What the lady name talked to me last night?
Miss Hendricks.
Miss Hendricks.
Yeah.
She's very nice.
Yeah, she is.
Very
Real nice, right?
Real nice.
Yeah.
I enjoy talking.
Yeah.
She and I talked 2 hours.
Is that right? Yeah, well, she can talk now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and she's good people. She's really good people. I want to thank you for just taking time out of your schedule to come and talk today.
Yeah, I try to do something. Ever since I've been here, I've been trying to do something constructive in the community.
Right, yeah.
I work with the coalition.
Is that right?
Roosevelt Bell, he's my councilman here now. We work together.
Yeah.
And after the guy wasn't doing nothing in my neighborhood, I asked him, you know what, we got to clean this neighborhood up.
Yeah.
With these dogs.
So you became president of the neighborhood.
So we got one of the better block watch programs in the city of Birmingham.
Is that right?
We have over 100 people coming out block watch meetings.
Is that right? How often you meet?
We just got it organized. So we meeting every once a month. Now the neighborhood association meeting, we run around 125 people average.
Yeah.
Some neighborhoods don't have an 8 and 10.
That's right.
Yeah. People don't participate, but I get out there and work with the people.
Uh-huh.
And all of them know my family and
Yeah.
know me, the older ones,
Right. Let me just ask you a bit about your family. Were your mother and father from Birmingham?
Oh, they were from Opelika.
From Opelika, both of them.
Both of them.
Well, were you born in Opelika?
I was born here. I was born right where I live.
Is that right?
That's right.
In the old home house.
That's right.
And
69 years ago. Now, we all were born there. Almost 6 of us, and I'm the youngest of 6.
Oh, okay.
So all was born at 107 15th Street.
Is that right? Well, just tell me a little about what it was like growing up in Birmingham.
In Birmingham, the only reason I left, growing up in Birmingham, I can give you some experiences that we ran into. Reason I even left Birmingham. I had a friend of mine that was going to Parker, and he lived in Vinesville. You know what Vinesville is? How about
Fairfield.
Yeah, how about Vines College?
Right.
So the streetcar turned around at that time out in Vinesville.
That's right.
And he was by himself on that streetcar when he went out there. See, we didn't have trolley. That was streetcar. I ain't talking about before the trolley.
Right.
And they took him off of that streetcar and castrated him and put him on the truck. His name was James Stallway.
How old were you then?
I was about 16.
So you were at Parker.
I was at Parker. We all had been we had a club called the Duke Social Club. It was Purdue. You ever heard of Purdue? James Purdue?
Sure.
Now his father and I, we finished school together.
Okay.
And we were all in a club together.
You kind of look like Purdue.
Anyway, that really bothered me. And so
Well, what happened? How did that happen? What?
he was on the street, on the streetcar.
Why did they come and take him
Take
off?
him off. Just because he was black.
See, the only black
He was
person on there?
he was the only one on there, they said. He was about your complexion, maybe a little bit lighter than you.
Is that right?
And they just took him off. And then I had some other experience. I used to go with a lady, she name was Catherine Berry. She lived on the end rig. So she was real fair. You couldn't hardly tell her from a white lady. You know? See, all white, all light skinned people.
Sure.
Object of attract, you know. Anyway, we were downtown on about Pizzazz. I was at Pizzazz.
Second half?
Second Avenue. We were down there, so we used to come down the street and we was going to walk on down to Fourth Avenue to the Cotton Club at that time. And white people walking down the street, they made me get off the street. Me and her get off the street. I asked, nigga, what you doing with this white woman? She said, I'm not no white woman. What the heck you talking about? The way you look like you white. So we had to get off the street. 3 white men. That's some of the things.
Was this during the day?
That was during the daytime.
Were there other people around?
Oh, other people showed.
Did anybody say anything?
Everybody was afraid to say. And see, that the spirit we quite a bit. And then we had, my father owned some land right across from Rickwood Park. And I used to park cars in there. We had about an acre there, right on 12th Street and face the court. And I was parking cars there. They give you a dime, a nickel, sometimes they give you a 2-cent. All right. So we was saying, you know, you weigh the cars and parking here, sir, parking here, sir. So I had a lot of regular customers. The policeman come out there and kick me in my room. Tell me, get out this street, nigga. And them some of the things that some of the
How
experiences.
old were you when that
I was about 14, 15.
happened?
I was going to park up, so we make that little change.
And everybody was parking cars.
Parking cars at that
And
time.
they're just like the Alabama, Albany.
That's right, that's the same as it is today, you know, guy got a area, he park cars,
Right.
you know, same difference. But we had a prime spot.
Right.
Cause
Right at the
right at the field, you know.
Mhm.
And the restaurant was on the corner, a guy named Ellis, he was a black guy, but he was real fair, you couldn't tell him from a white man.
Mhm.
But see, at that time, it was, what you call, black get back.
Mhm.
In other words, if you were
Brown,
young, if
stick
you,
around.
you stick around,
Yeah.
if black get black, but being dark, see, Ellis and them, they had a good thing, cause all of them was real fair.
Right.
All of
Was
them.
this a black restaurant?
Yeah,
or
it was a
what?
black man, it's still there today.
Right.
I mean, his thing is not in operation, but it's still there.
Right.
But they didn't ever bother him, cause he had good hamburgers and, you know, ice cream and everything at that time.
Mhm. And the whites would
Oh,
patronize.
yeah, white patronize, ain't no white get black, cause all the white people come from different little cities around and go in there and get them hamburgers, cause it's so much cheaper than going into the stadium to get them.
Well, would they be seated in
Oh, yeah,
the restaurant?
but still they're black and white.
Blacks and whites would be seated?
No. You had black here like that.
Oh,
See what I'm saying? So he had more spaces for the white than he did the black.
I see.
Because more white patronized the white barons at that time than blacks. Because
Right.
if you were black, you said we're on the far end, on the north end, where
Mhm.
one little section down there, you know.
That's right.
That's on the far
Yeah,
end.
far end.
Yeah, so it's almost the center field. That way you sit way on the end.
In the crow's nest.
That's right, that's where you had to sit. But anyway, we had a lot of good experiences. I went to school at Veteran Cone Parson and
Where did you start first grade?
at Princeton.
At Princeton.
At Princeton.
What do you remember about Princeton?
It was a little wood house. It had 3 rooms. We had a wood stove. We could go out, cut wood and put it in the stove to keep warm. And we didn't have no lunchroom or nothing like that. You know.
Where was Princeton located?
In West Princeton. That was right in Washington Avenue. It was a little house in there.
Mm-hmm.
And during the late 50s, they moved that school to Rising.
Right.
So now they made it a alternative school. That's what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Or they were busing white kids in there. But the white people in Central Park, they still wouldn't send those white kids to Princeton School.
Mm.
So they come from different other areas in order to have an equal amount of kids.
So Princeton has always been a black school?
Yeah, but it always was a black school from Miss Cherry. I know I was back in, but have to be in there 1920,
Mm.
1918, up in there. I said 1918,
Right.
up in that Princeton
Mm-hmm.
school
Mhm.
was up there.
Right. Right.
But see, very few black men went to school at my age.
Mm.
See, most black men didn't go to school. The women went to school.
Okay. Why? Why did
It was
black-
just, the men had to go to work, and they went to TCI, the
At what age did the men usually go to work?
14, 15 years old. They didn't work on the farms. There was a lot of farmlands in Birmingham back in those times, you know, like sorghum mills. And where they made sorghum syrup and all that stuff. You ever heard of sorghum
Oh,
syrup?
sure.
Okay. Well, a lot of the black men, they went to the wire mill, the steel mill, TCI, the pipe shop, the railroad, being Pullman Pollers,
Sloths.
and all that kind of stuff, you know, back at that time.
You went to Parker High School.
Yes,
Right.
I finished college.
Village Park. What do you remember about Park?
Park was an ideal school. I got skipped from the 6th grade to the 7th grade. And then my sister, she's 2 years older than I, we finished school together.
Mm.
And we went to Parker together.
Okay.
And Parker was a good school. It gave you a good education at that time. I mean, I can remember some of my teachers, you know. And my kids, after I had kids, I knew more than they knew because it was a different time. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we had teaching at that time. They didn't just give you something to read. They would sit there and make sure you get your message, you know. If you have to say like the preamble to the Constitution and it's like Henry Longfellow's speeches, and you had to learn this stuff. You had to learn the maps, the states. You had to know that, you know. You just couldn't come out of school and not know how to read a paper. See, when I come out of school, you had to know how to read a newspaper.
Right.
You got these kids now come out of school, they can't even read a newspaper.
What year did you come out?
In 1942.
1942. And Parker at that time was termed to be the largest in quote
In the
Negro
United
school.
States, in the United States, we had carpentry, we had mechanics, we had printing. The girls had home economics, they learned how to cook, they knew how to sew. See, don't have nothing like that. I can fix pants at my age because I learned it at Park. You know how to cut pants and sleeves. I can shorten sleeves and all that now. I can make wet knots and all that because I learned that at Park. Park was an ideal school. It was a beautiful school. And we kept it nice.
Right.
And, you know, because we were all proud. We used to have our May Festival down at Legion Field. I ran track and all that stuff. It was ideal.
So you participate in extracurricular
Oh,
activities?
yeah, always doing something. But I just got hung up, and my brother, he left here and went to Cleveland. His name is Jno Berry. And so he encouraged me to come to Cleveland. So I went to Cleveland and I got a job the next day.
Let me ask you, before you go to Cleveland, let me ask you about the castrating of your friend, the killing and castrating of your friend.
I was going to school.
You were at Park at that time.
Yeah.
And did he live in Vinesville?
He lived in Vinesville.
Okay. And what do you remember that day? What was the atmosphere at the school after you?
Oh, you know, everybody was down because James was a nice guy. He was a nice looking guy. He was, you know, everybody liked him at the school. And, you know, because we all participated in different activities. We didn't ever get in trouble, you know, we weren't no troublemakers.
Was this your senior year?
No, that was I was in the 10th, 11th grade.
So that was in 40 or 41? 41. Was anyone arrested for that?
No, ain't nobody ever heard anybody no more. That was aggravating us. Nobody said nothing about it. I had a little clip in the newspaper like
Nobody ever brought to justice for that.
Oh.
And he was just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And I've seen the Ku Klux Klan right here in Birmingham on 15th Street where I live. I've seen them drive through there with those robes on, 3 or 4 columns, and I've seen that with these eyes. And I was real bitter. I was bitter. I used to hate a white man with a passion. But after I went north and I went to different schools, like Dale Carnegie. I went to Dale Carnegie. I had courses at Cornell and Michigan State, Jno Berry.
Cornell, where was Cornell?
Cornell, that's in Washington. Cornell,
Okay.
that was in Washington.
So you left Birmingham right after you finished high school,
After I finished high school.
and your brother was in Cleveland, so he sent for you.
He said for me to come up there.
And then what did you do once you got to Cleveland?
I started working for Young Motors.
Okay. And you worked there
I worked there 31 years.
31 years.
I went from a spray painter to a young farmer.
So from 1942, did you go straight through 30 years, or did you spend all your time
No,
in Cleveland?
I came back here, stayed a year. I took a leave come back here and stayed a year after my brother moved back here.
Mhm.
Because his family was here. And his wife didn't want to move to Cleveland. So he had to come back here. That's Dr. Berry's father.
Okay,
So he had to come back here with his family.
yes.
So my mother and father, they were here.
Mhm.
So I couldn't turn Birmingham loose and I couldn't turn Cleveland
So
loose.
you were sort of.
So I was in between both of them.
Oh, a question I forgot to ask you. Tell me about your parents, their education. How much education?
My mother had an 8th grade education. My father couldn't read his name if you seen him in boxcar letters until I went to a high school and I learned how to write his name. He used to make an X for his name.
Yeah. What kind of work did they do?
My father, he worked for TCI.
Where about?
And that was in Inslee.
Okay.
That's the railroad. He worked there 47 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he got up to be a switchman before he died. He worked on the yard. And he was, when he first started out, he said he was shoveling coal. You know how the train run by coal?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
But that's what he was doing.
Did your mother
My
work
mother,
outside
she
the home?
didn't work. No, she stayed home. She raised
Mhm.
tough too.
Tough.
Oh man. You had to get some lessons to keep your house clean. That's one thing you have to learn how to cook, you had to learn how to wash, you had to learn how to iron. We had chickens, we had hogs and all that stuff. I learned how to kill chickens and hogs, and we used to share out with one another in the neighborhood. You know, you have a hog, you kill this person part, when they kill theirs, they kill you part.
Mhm.
But she stayed home and raised us.
So you had chickens and hogs. Right there at home.
Right there.
Did you have any responsibilities
I
as
had to
related?
feed them hogs every morning.
Every
And
morning.
I used to go out up on Bush Hill, up in Central Park, go through them garbage cans and get that bread and stuff and bring it and feed them hogs.
Mhm.
The first bicycle I had, I saved my money when I carried the hog to the slaughterhouse and bought me a bicycle. I never will forget it, paid $47 for a Roadmaster. Never will forget.
Roadmaster was top of
Oh,
the line
I'm
at the
talking
time.
about that. And I was throwing newspapers. I always did something to make a few dollars all my life.
Tell me about you said you kill hogs. Can you describe what happened when you killed a
Well, see,
hog?
you take a hog and you stab him in the heart. You have two men, two grab his front feet. One man grab his front feet, one man grab his back feet. Then you stab him in the heart. And then you take him and put him in this wood barrel, put some lime in it, run him in it.
Some lime.
Lime in the barrel, mix it in there. You
Mhm.
take him out, and that one end is clean. You take the other end and put him in there. And you clean the other end, you take it and hang him up, and you got him.
Did you? I'm trying to recall because I was a little boy when I remember that we had a hog and my uncle came over to kill a hog and everybody in the neighborhood of course helped. I'm trying to think it was a huge container of water.
That's right. They had water in this barrel. So you had a big barrel, a 50-gallon barrel. Sometimes they had wood barrels, then sometimes they had 10 barrels. You see them 10 drums there.
Right.
And you slide one part in, the head in first, because the head is the one that's hard to clean.
Right.
You put the head in first and see by the time
Scraping.
scrape him off with a knife,
Mhm.
a brick, and then you take and put his rear end in, and the whole come out clean as this wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I did a minute there.
Is that right?
A minute there.
Yeah, I can vaguely remember that. I never did it, but I saw it done.
I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
We had peanuts and corn and tomatoes, and so I had an acre next door to our home there. It'll be a house in there. Now, we farmed on that acre, had all our stuff. We had a smokehouse where you smoke your meat. Have meat year round, you know.
Were there people without food at that time?
No. Because everybody share. See, people share. See, when I remember, and then my father always had a good job, so we never had to go without too much. You know, we went without a lot, but not like some people had to go. But if you find a family in the neighborhood, though, you would always take some meat or some vegetables. let them come up and get them some beans or greens or out of your field, you know,
So everybody took care
everybody
of
took one another.
everybody in the neighborhood.
Everybody in the neighborhood took care of one another. You wouldn't see nobody kids without any shoes and, my father bought a mini guy, blue jeans, they wouldn't call it 89 cents. Buy a pair of blue jeans for 89 cents.
Right. Well, you then went to Cleveland and you spent several years in Cleveland, but you returned.
That's
You
right.
probably did you spend 20 years the first time or
I spent about 15 years.
15 years? And you
Yeah,
came
I
back
came
during
back.
the height of the
During the
movement.
height of the
Well, how had Birmingham changed during the time that you left and the time that you returned?
anyways, see, it hadn't changed
Okay.
when I came back. Cause you couldn't, like at Woolworth, those stores downtown, you couldn't sit at no counters at that time.
But now you had gone to Cleveland and you were used to sitting at the counters.
Nuh-uh, you had discrimination up there.
Oh, tell me about
You
that.
had discrimination.
Is that right? You mean it wasn't?
It wasn't like what people portrayed. When I went there, I lived on 37 in Woodland. That was the slum. We were in like 4th Avenue when it used to be the area back. That's where I lived when I first went.
Okay.
And we sat downtown from here to downtown. They had theaters down there. It's still black and white up there. It was the same thing, you know. But they didn't portray it per se as like they did here. But you still had discrimination. There are a lot of places you couldn't go into. They'll tell you that we're not serving today. You know, they use any kind of technicality to keep you out. You know.
Right.
You know,
They didn't have the laws
That's right.
that said segregation, but they
It
segregated.
was in a way, it was segregated, you know.
Mhm.
They didn't have black women. See, all the light-skinned black women would get like jobs driving elevators and clerks and things like that. And the black women would have the hard jobs. See, all the light-skinned women all had good jobs. See, that's when we always had class among ourselves.
Right.
We always have it. You still got it per se. You don't have it as bad, but you still have it. We call them the blue blood. You know, they had churches up there in Cleveland, anyhow. But nothing up there, go there, nothing but real light-skinned people.
Is that right?
That's right. I had a lot of my friends, John Robinson, he assistant to Carl Stokes. He was about your complexion, but he was married to a woman that's like a white girl. So in Oakland, Ohio, that's right out of West Virginia. They have a lot of inner marriages. And all those women up in there, most of them look just like white women. So that happened in Cleveland, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you had discrimination up there. It wasn't all roses, no. Never let nobody tell you that. They do, they exaggerate. But in the later years, after Martin Luther King, then things went to breaking up in Ohio, just like it broke in Alabama.
So when you returned to Birmingham, you really simply was returning to what you had remembered, but it was very similar to what you had left in Cleveland.
That's right. Yeah,
So-
a lot of similarities, a lot of them.
When did you get involved in the movement? I know you were very.
That was in 1961, 62. I was here, I come in, I stayed 4 months. I stayed 4 months because I had some time off of the job, and then my mother had got sick. And I was always dutiful about being on time and being at work every day.
Right.
So when I wanted time off, I had a real good boss. He would always give me the time off. I stayed off 6 months and never took it from a seniority. I had a real name, Frank Miles. I never forget that old guy. But anyway, we came here, and my brother, he was real active in the civil rights. He was Shuttleworth and Desi Peters. You ever heard of him? He was
What was his name?
Desi B.
Desi B. Peters.
Peters. He was real active in civil rights, and this lady from West she was real active. So all of us was in this neighborhood. But when a lot of the blacks here in Birmingham, in the beginning, they would hide in the weeds. You understand what I'm trying to say? They would never come out
front.
Come out front. We said like AG. AG did a whole lot for the movement, but he never did come out front.
Right.
Am I right?
That's right.
I got to tell it like it is, you know.
Right.
Now, he was a good man. He gave all kind of monies.
But he wouldn't be
He
involved.
wouldn't even be involved per se. Well, you had a lot of guys that's even, maybe said down here today, older guys. They were hid in the weeds, you know. But the soldiers was out there. You probably never know who they are. I'm telling you, God's truth.
Right, yeah. Well, that's why we interviewing people like yourself. You know, you out there.
That's
You
right.
out there in the
I
street.
know what's happening.
That's
I
right.
knew what happened. Yes, I know when Martin Luther came here. I know when he went to jail. I know when he did that.
Why
We were out
did you
there.
get involved? Why did you?
Because of my brother.
Okay.
But we were real.
Did he
close.
return before you did?
Yeah, he returned before I did.
Okay. How long was he here before?
Oh, he was here. He must have come back in '59.
Okay. So he had been here a couple of years.
Oh yeah, a couple of years
Before you returned. And then you returned as a result of him coming back.
There you go.
And then he was involved in the movement. So then
I
that's
got
when-
it. That's put me in the movement with it.
Did you attend the mass meetings?
Everyone that went long as I was here.
Yeah. How would you describe a mass meeting?
It's unreal. It's unreal. You know, we had a meeting at the 16th Street Baptist Church. It looked like that floor was moving, you know, psychological. You know, there were so many people. And they had bushel baskets of money. You know, it was like $5, $1.50. I'm talking about bushel baskets of money. But when he spoke, looked like that floor would move. Honestly, couldn't it? I guess
Dr. King, you mean?
Yeah, Dr. King. It was just, it's unreal. You can't even explain it. You can't even explain it. Because that name was something else. It was something else.
Were the meetings that way every week?
Every week that he was here.
What about when he was not here?
Well, you had a few guys that was out there, but they didn't have the strength that he had. You know, to draw people. See, when he came in, you couldn't go from 4th Avenue and I said 13th Street to 20th Street on 4th Avenue. You couldn't even go through there with so many people. You know, because I'm talking about kids and all, you know.
Well, when you got involved, what was your first action, your first activity?
We was on 78. You know what 78 is? Called Alpha
West.
Road.
Definitely,
My
right.
God, I can't think his name to say, man. He had a beautiful house right on the Alpha Road. He had a porch that sit on Alpha It's a large porch. And when those trucks come through there, we don't want to put that on there, cut that off. You know, we used to
That's all right. Ain't nobody can do it.
shoot at them trucks. My brother, he was real military. He had about 20 guns. He was stone military. And we would hide in there, hide in the weeds.
In the bushes, yeah. That's what we did. The same thing. We know.
Okay. Shot at them, so we had to turn, all of them trucks had to turn around and not go through Africa. We wouldn't let them through there.
Yeah, we let them come up through the community.
Yeah. Had to go around, go downtown or something. I don't know which way. But they didn't come through Africa Road. Because that was all black section. See, we were
Right.
coming on down into Smithfield, you know.
That's right.
And that's one of the things that we did. And we was with them when, see, Bill Connor, come back to him. He used to live on the end of my street.
Who will come?
Bill Connor.
What street?
On
Oh,
15th Street West. A guy named Rose Roy, he had a coal yard. And Bill Connor and this guy named Rose Roy, white fella, they lived down across Lum Avenue. Because a lot of houses on that end at that time.
right.
And them guys were just as nice as they could be as kids and all. We used to play together, you know that. And I couldn't see how that man turned like he did.
You mean you played with Bull Connor as a child?
His kid.
With this kid?
His kid. As a child. Right on 15th Street. They used to come up there. We had a little golf course sitting up on the hill. The hill. They don't build that community up now with new homes and all.
Right.
But we had golf courses up there. They used to come up there and play golf with us and everything. Sure did.
How long did you play with their kids? How old were they?
Oh, I must have been 15, 16.
That late?
That late, yeah. At that time. They would come up there and play with us.
And you cannot figure out how the children would be allowed to play and then it turned out
to be what they were. I just couldn't see.
Tell me about demonstrations. Were you involved in any demonstrations?
Yeah, we was involved in when they, was it Jno Berry?
You were.
I was down there when that, when they were letters, break out the fountain, I was in that demonstration, I was in a demonstration at, the Parisians of Love and Joy, one of them.
In Jno Berry, were you going in to sit in?
Yeah, the city, I was involved in that.
What happened when you went in to sit in?
What happened? What do you mean, what happened?
What happened? Did anything, when you went in to sit in, it's a segregated
Yeah, yeah.
counter.
Yeah, we
And
went
you
there,
sat down at
sit down and the white folk with the white folks.
Did anything,
And nobody said nothing to me.
nobody said anything?
The group of us, about 40 of us, what could they say?
Nobody arrested?
Yeah, there was 2 or 3 of them arrested, because you know how we get, sometimes we get the living, you know. So, but the majority of the people, they didn't do nothing to. Not that day, but then they said that a lot of the blacks got real nasty, you know, you can't get like that. You have to use a lot of tact.
So you think that when things happen, the blacks basically brought it on themselves?
A lot of time they did, a lot of time they didn't. I see, but they were determined they was gonna break it up. So we were determined that we was gonna sit at those counters, we was gonna drink out of those fountains. We were determined. So they went on and did it. So they had all kind of police around, they'd run you out and get out of here and all this kind of stuff. Some of them wouldn't move, you know, some of them did move, some of us did move, you know.
Right.
But at least we let them knew that we wasn't gonna take it. That's what we did.
Were you ever in the demonstrations near the 16th Street Baptist Church?
No, I wasn't. I never was in that demonstration. I wasn't in that one.
So were there other demonstrations that you were involved in other than the sitting in at Jno Berry's?
We said in Jno Berry, I think it was Pizzett's, I think it was Pizzett's. There's another store down there. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I can't think of, I know it was 2 stores that we demonstrated at. Desi B and my brother and about 10 women, a guy named James Chappell. You ever heard of him?
James.
Had a band. He used to play a band around here in Birmingham.
Is it Reverend Chappelle?
No, he had a band. He played the saxophone.
Oh yeah. I remember Chappelle.
Yeah, Chappelle. Well, he was in that demonstration with a guy named Ethan Peoples, Claude Harris. Been a long time, you know. I can't think of all these guys' names, but there's a lot of women was with us. You know, more women than were men.
Yeah.
Cause most of the black men was afraid. And women, see, them women, they afraid.
They would be out
Oh,
there.
they'd be out.
Well, what about your brother? Was he ever arrested?
Yeah, he was arrested twice. Yeah, he was arrested twice.
And when he was arrested, did he ever tell you about his experiences?
Yeah, he would talk about how, you know, they would never beat him or nothing. He never been beaten or anything. But they would take him down to jail, keep him a day. Sometimes my father go down there and get him out. He'd get back out there, my father just cried and begged him not to do it. But he was just determined.
Were any other siblings involved? Your sisters?
Yeah, my sister, Jno Berry, she's a teacher. She was afraid. See, most of your teachers, all of them was afraid because they would lose their jobs. So when they take a picture of them, they would lose their job. So she taught school, so she didn't have to.
Were there others that did?
Not my other ones. They were in the.
Oh, they were not here at the time.
Yeah, they was in Detroit.
Right. Yeah. So you then spent. You were here for about a year doing that.
More than that, I was in and out of here. But I used to come here every other week from Cleveland.
Is that right?
I come here every other week.
Why were you coming?
Because my mother and father was here, and I always had a pretty decent car, and I would get my wife, one of her brothers and sisters, and we would all, because they come from Selma, and they all knew Martin Luther King better than I did, you know, and they knew this guy at the Dexter Baptist Church, I can't call his name, the preacher there, where Martin Luther King first started at the Baptist Church right on Broad Street.
Johns?
I can't think of the guy's name. Anyway.
Vernon Johns?
No,
He was there before King was there.
I'm talking about, he went to, I'm talking about
He went to Dexter after King?
after King.
Okay, I don't know.
That's the guy. They knew him real well. And Reverend Jemison, you ever heard of him? He was the president of the National Baptist Convention.
Right.
He was real militant. His sons, at least. His son took the young Jemison took the old Jemison's job as the president of the National Baptist Convention.
Okay.
So, and his sisters, I mean his wife's sisters,
Mm-hmm.
we were all good friends.
Hmm.
They were named McQueen. That's what Reverend Jemison. Now, the young Jemison is married to a McQueen. But the old Jemison, he was real militant too, the old man. See, he was the president of Selma University. You probably don't know about it, but that was,
No, I know the younger one, I guess.
you know the young
Right.
Jemison. But I'm talking about the older man.
Right.
He was real militant too.
Mhm.
So he didn't take anything. So he used to be the president at Selma University. That's
Right.
when Selma University was a school then. I'm talking about something else.
Right. Yeah.
They said it went down quite a bit.
Yeah. They're having financial problems and all kinds of things. So what year did you then move back to Birmingham after you left?
Last time I came here,
Came back.
I just been here now 3 years.
Is that right?
That's what I've been.
Okay. How do you compare Birmingham now and Birmingham back in the
It's like night and day.
Is that right?
Like night and day. And I'm proud of Birmingham. I'm proud of the black people as a whole. The guys your age group, or you 50s, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm 53.
And your age group, I admire you guys because you got nice homes, nice cars. You're trying to do something in the community. We got Black Mayor. I told Miss Hendricks last night that he got a MasterCard. All we got to do is cash it in on the black folks.
That's right.
Anytime he wants, he can cash it in.
Mhm.
Because he got it.
Yeah.
But he doing a heck of a good job. Because I remember the ditches was running all through our area and junk everywhere, or even around the outskirts. Because we kept our area when we were young clean and nice,
Mhm.
Smithfield and Rising, Enon Ridge. I met you here, Enon Ridge,
Sure.
and Ilton. You ever heard of Ilton?
Oh, yeah.
Folks say Ilton is one of the older.
That's where Birmingham
That's where it
began.
began. See?
Yeah.
Well, I lived right out of Ilton, so we kept the area clean. But I remember when they had the ditches and the white man would fill the ditches up, but nothing nowhere to jump ditches.
Mhm.
Everything got in there. Didn't charge the black people anything, cover all those ditches, put sewers in, and look at the streets, look at downtown, look at your building.
Mhm.
And I'm proud of some of our black women down there. They are nice and courteous, they know how to talk, but you got some nasty ones too, So when you give them a little break, they get kind of
Yeah.
flaky, They don't know what we had to take.
Yeah. But in terms of race relations, how do you compare Cleveland with Birmingham?
Same today.
They're the same.
Maybe Birmingham may be better
Mhm.
in the race relationship.
Is that right?
May be better. Birmingham may be better than Cleveland. Because we got a black man in Cleveland today.
Right.
White. Go ahead, Carl Stokes.
Yeah.
He did a good job, but I think race relationship here, because you don't have, see, you got different sections there. You got a poor section, a middle class section, and a rich section.
Mhm.
Well, you still got white people live on the west side of Cleveland. We call it the hillbillies and other names. I want to name all we call them. But they live in one section. But see, then you come up about a half a mile, you got a black section. Then you run into a Jew section.
Mhm.
See? So they section off.
Everybody's segregated. huh?
Segregate, still segregate. You understand me?
Right.
But they segregated by sections.
Mhm.
Because the Polacks live on the west side.
Mhm.
The black people, per se, live on the east side.
Mhm.
The Jews live far east.
Mhm.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's still segregated. Now, I lived in a Jewish area
Mhm.
because I was one of the first black to move in a place called Shaker Heights. That's one of the richest municipalities in the United States.
Right.
Because all the people in there make a certain amount of money. Like in California, they said, you have maybe 2 or 3 houses here where the rich people live.
Mhm.
And then you got some poor people live. But see, in that area, everybody has to make a certain amount of money to live in that area.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
See what I'm saying? So that's when they call it one of the richest municipalities in the United States.
Mhm. Well, we covered a lot of territory, and I know you have an appointment, but if you were to give advice today to young people based upon what you have been through, what would you say?
I would say, get an education. I don't care what color you are, where you've been, where you come. If you come out of the projects, get an education. If you get an education, what you get in your head, I don't care what anyone say or do, they can't take it away from you. That'd be my advice, to get an education. I went to school till I was 50 years old. But John Moses gave us $700 a year, $750 a year to go to school. So I kept going to school because I didn't have enough education by finishing Parker. And I was over 176 men. So I had to be a psychologist, numerologist, a sexologist, and everything. Yeah. But I went to Dale Carnegie, like I said, and taught me a lot. How to motivate people, how to talk to people, how to motivate yourself.
Right.
You know, you need motivation. You do, I do. We all need motivation. If you're not motivated, you lost. You got to be in your job. If you're not motivated, what good are you? You got to have it. So anything you do in this life today, you got to have an education. And I see these young blacks here in Birmingham and in Cleveland, especially men, won't go to school. It's a sin to them, not to me. It's to them. Because you can't go nowhere without you got something up here.
That's right.
You ain't make no money. Tell you like it is, you ain't make no money.
That's right.
So if you've got an education, you're going to make some money. So you can buy the nice car, you can buy the nice home. I went out, name that street, it's on 6th Avenue, went to name that street. And I looked at all those beautiful homes. I'm talking over on the other side of Aaron, where he lived, the mayor there.
Heritage.
Yeah, I went over there and I said, now these Negroes got these Mercedes, these Cadillacs, and they got to be making some money. But they got something up here.
Yeah.
Ain't that right?
That's right.
You got to have something up there. See, if you ain't got nothing up there, you lost.
Yeah.
I don't care what you look like, jumbo jumbo. Get that education.
That's right.
Look at Shirley Chisholm and Bobby Jordan. Look at those men. You know, Churchill look like a monkey. But she ain't nothing.
Mr. Berry, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule. You've been very helpful because what we're doing is trying to simply document the history of Birmingham with some emphasis on the movement, and you, of course, was very instrumental in all
Well,
of that.
we try to do something, you know. I thought I used to tell my kids, and I use Longfellow's speech, tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. It's all it is. It's an empty dream. See, but if you make some footprints on the sand of time, in other words, if you do something in life, somebody gonna see you. You understand what I'm saying? If I die today or tomorrow, I got a men's clothing store in Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm not bragging, I'm just talking. You can cut that off. I had a funeral home in Cleveland called Cruden Gaines Funeral Home. I helped blacks to get McDonald's in Cleveland. A guy named Robinson, he got McDonald's restaurant on the Ohio Turnpike. If you go through and drive the Ohio Turnpike, that's black guys on that.
Is that right?
Well, I'm that guy that helped Robinson put his package together with SBA, because I was instrumental in being one of the first blacks to get an SBA loan in Cleveland for any magnitude. I got $250,000 in that. In 1969, that was a lot of money. You understand what I'm saying? So we purchased an Italian funeral home, and because the funeral directors there, they was taking advantage of the black people. They would charge you that big amount of money and wouldn't give you no kind of service and just do you and talk to you anyway. So we made them act right. We opened the funeral home. First 3 months, I didn't have a funeral. My note was $3,500 a month. But I had a cushion because the SBA had gave me $30,000 cushion, so I could stay there 3 months.
Right.
But the next 8 months, I had 85 funerals. So 85 Funeral gave me over $100,000. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I took that $100,000 and I went to buy my stuff wholesale.
Right.
I learned how to buy wholesale. I had a black guy in Memphis. He was furnishing me all my embalming fluids and my makeup and all that. So he was put it to me where I could pay him every 3 months because I got some funeral. You know, he helped me and I helped him. But anyway, I'm sure you can make it. God give us all an opportunity.
Mhm.
Now, if you don't take advantage of it, that's your fault. But everybody got an opportunity. It may come late, it may come early, but you got an opportunity in life. Am I telling the truth?
Best time in anybody's life is when opportunity and preparedness.
That's right. And sometimes it'll catch us unprepared.
Mhm.
Sometimes it will. You know, you go probably in your lifetime, you'll see it.
Okay.
It come and slipped away from you, and you wonder how.
Mhm.
See what I'm saying?
Sure.
But if you take advantage of that opportunity and help somebody along the way, then my living ain't anything. I help guys get an ambulance service in Cleveland.
Mhm.
One up in the ambulance service now named Billy Bray. See, they don't have no blacks here in the ambulance service.
Mhm.
Billy Bray got big ambulance service there in Cleveland. I made the film director improve that facility and give people a fair cost. They would charge you, except for, see, the average casket costs about $500. Sometimes that's big shot casket.
Mhm.
You can buy a casket for $80. But anyway, you charge the $80 casket, you charge them $1,500 for that casket, one of them cloth caskets. See what I'm saying?
Mm.
And see, then the government come in and they went to making you itemize all of this stuff because the white people was raping the white people off too, the film director.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, we made those guys act right. We made them improve that facility
Right.
and we made them get
Did you have an organization?
I had 3 guys that went in business with me. I borrowed the money,
Mhm.
but I had to form a cooperation, you know, for tax purposes and all this. So I put crew and gains and a guy named Sam Odom. He's in Monroe, Louisiana. Now he works at a funeral home. But I just had to get out of it. I couldn't give up my job.
Mhm.
I had too much time and I was doing $70,000 a year. So I couldn't be no millionaire. I thought, you know, but if I had stayed in there, I'd have been a millionaire because the guy Slogan Fuel, he's a multi-millionaire.
Mhm.
So he's bigger than AG,
Right.
Gaskin Funeral Home, you know.
Mhm.
But if I had stayed in business, but I just couldn't give up my job. And I love my job. If you ever had a job that you really like,
Yeah. That's
I
right.
like that job.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Because I came from 50 cents an hour to $40 an hour.
That's a jump.
That's a jump. When I started Jno Berry, I made 50 cents an hour,
Mhm.
plus piecework.
Right.
So sometimes I make 95 cents an hour, $1.05,
Mhm.
you know,
Were you a member of the UAW?
when I first started.
Mhm.
When I first
And when you
started.
went into
Management. I went into management. So when I left, I went into management. They still nice to me. They give me free eyeglass care, free dental care. They give me $50,000 free life insurance, prescription. I pay only $2 for a prescription for everything.
Mhm.
So they still good to me. Give me $2,000 every December 15th.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you know, ain't bad.
Yeah, that's
I
not
buy
bad.
some ice cream.
Yeah, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us before we leave?
No, I was just telling you and John, I didn't want
Yeah.
that,
But that needs to be known because that's important. That's part of that whole history because what you're telling me is that people, you have done something and if other young black folks look at that and say, well, hey, this man has done it, so it can be done.
stay in the church, stay with God.
Mhm.
See, you can't get it in the street. I stay with the church. I'm a trustee and a student at my church, Bethel Union Church. And if you come to my house, I can show you all kind of awards. I got a whole wall of awards. Supervisor of the month, supervisor of the year, black businessman of the year, different awards from the church, beauty pageants, so many, I got so many different awards,
Yeah.
man. And I got an award from the city yesterday, man. In our neighborhood, we had more people voted in the last election for me, not bragging, I'm just talking to you, because I had over 200 people to vote for me in that neighborhood association. But very few neighborhoods had that many people to even vote.
That's right.
See what I'm saying? Because I doubt you voted. You see what I'm telling you like it is? I doubt it, but see, I'm just saying, you got to be with these people. I'm with those old people in that neighborhood. I'm gonna make sure that they get their garbage picked up. And the guy have sweep the streets up. Don't pick up the garbage right up. We got door pushers out there. See, we got this nuisance law now.
Right.
If you mess around there, you're gonna get your building torn down. You got these old cars parked all over the street in your yard. I ain't gonna have it out there. So you're gonna clean it up.
Right.
All these old absentee landlord, leave all that junk out there. You gonna tear that house down. I bolt it up and paint it. You don't just bolt it up and leave it. You gonna paint that house. See, these are some things I'm doing now.
So you are still an active person.
Oh, yeah, I'm active in that neighborhood right now, Mr. Conway. And the mayor, he wanted to know how did I set up block watch in our neighborhood, because he wanted to implement the same program all over Birmingham.
Yeah.
We set a precedent out there with the amount of people, and it's a small area, that we got interested in our neighborhood.
Right.
So all the guys that see the garbage trucks and the building inspectors come from Inslee. So I deal with Mr. Brown and all those guys out there, but we get along, but I want you to do your job, because you're getting paid to do your job.
That's right.
So the building inspector, see them houses, he just riding through that neighborhood just to make a day. They don't work like that with me. You know what I'm saying? You gonna go and find out, put that house on the list to be torn down or be boarded up and be painted. See, you know, oh, that's your job.
Improvement of your neighborhood.
You're gonna improve that neighborhood. So I'm determined to improve that neighborhood. And we're not bragging, but if you come through there, and I'd like for you to come out and just see, you'll see, make a lot of difference. Matthew Coke, he told me anything I can do for you.
Yeah.
He's gonna help me help improve that neighborhood, because they're improving Rickwood. And so they intend to have that a historic area.
Right.
Two of those streets in there, maybe 4 or 5 years before it gets done, maybe after my time, but I'm gonna try to do the best I can while I'm here. You understand? Lay the foundation. And get me some young person interested. You can't get them to do it.
Yeah.
Some young guy, you know, I'm too old. We need young people.
Bring somebody along.
Bring somebody along, you know, and let them take over. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I want to do. I'm not going to build no big thing for me. I've had plenty, and I've had nothing. You know what I'm saying?
And you know both sides
I
of the
know
street.
both sides of the street. See, I live with roaches and ants, and when I went to Cleveland, I ain't never seen no chinches, because my mother was real clean. Man, them chinches got on me and just bite me all over my legs, and I said, Lord, sucking the blood. Couldn't sleep. I lived with my cousin up there in that rose infected place. I said, Lord have mercy. So I finally got out of that place. But anyway, I stayed there about 3 days, and I went and got me a room at the lady's house up there, $8 a week. And I got out of that place. My brother, he wasn't living there, but he gonna put me in that with my cousin. They live just like animals, you know. But anyway, I've had a plenty, and I've had nothing.
Yeah.
I used to drive a Chevy with 3 fenders on it. That's right. Didn't have no fender on the right front. It was all 8 of them. Then I drove 20 new Cadillacs. So
you've been there.
I've been there. So life is, God has been good to me because I be good to people.
Right.
And I'm not going to mistreat nobody knowingly.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't help you, I'm not going to help you.
Right.
And
That's
God-
a good motto.
And God's been good to me. And I appreciate Him, and I appreciate, you know, the people I work with and I'm involved with. In my church, we got good relations. I'm not one of those fantastic, what you call, them Christians that everything got to be so. I'm not one of those, but I try to do something in life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the key.
That's the key.
Doing something to make some change.
Makes some change.
Yeah. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you. I'm glad to talk to you.
Okay.
And you've been